After a controversial launch, the S25 Ultra felt a bit behind. But after 3 months, is it Ultra enough? So that's what we're going to be finding out in today's Day in the Life. After 3 months, what is the S25 Ultra like? Now that all the software and all of the hype has settled down. I've got a pretty busy day ahead. I'm catching a flight to Auckland and then a flight from Auckland to Sydney in Australia. It's now currently 5:52 and our battery percentage is at 96%. Let's get into this Day in the Life. Let's talk about the display. The S25 Ultra's display is still almost the best in its class. Now you might be asking, why not the best? It's seriously high-end and equipped with all the bells and whistles you could ask for, including an anti-reflective coating that every manufacturer needs to implement. But there are a couple things missing. First, the brightness could be higher. It's good with 2600 nits and an anti-reflective coating, but other phones are pushing 4500 nits. Even the pixels are brighter. Second, the colors. For some reason, the Ultra is still stuck in 8-bit colors, which means no HDR10 Plus certification or Dolby Vision, something that its main competitors like the iPhone 16 Pro Max have. All in all, it's one of the best displays out there, but it's missing a few features that other Ultras have, giving the S25 Ultra's display an A grade. Alright, so we have now reached Auckland Airport. It's now 7:52, battery percentage is now at 84%, and we have to go to the international side of the airport, or the international terminal, so we can get to Sydney. It's about a 10-minute walk, so let's go there now. So we just go up through all of the international screening, security gates, whatnot. Now we're going to the gate itself for the boarding, and we're running a little bit behind, but I think we'll make out. Okay, see you guys there. To make sure we're ready for the day, my friends at MagBak have sent me their Elite case, which is the best all-in-one case you can get for your phone. I've been using MagBak for some time, and it's super functional and practical. The case itself is built very well, it looks very premium. With a nice spot inside and rubber around the outside, it's great to hold and cushions your hands. There are 5 features that makes the Elite case Elite. A built-in kickstand, a finger loop, a pinky cushion that doubles as a port cover, full MagSafe and Qi 2 support with super strong magnets, full S Pen functionality with MagSafe. You can customize the accent colors as well. I have the white accents. It's perfect for traveling and for flights like the one I'm on. You can also pair it with the MagBak wallet, which also has a finger loop and MagSafe, which is super convenient. It also can hold several cards and some cash after some use. If you want to get the Elite case and MagBak wallet, check the link in my description, and thank you again to MagBak for sponsoring this video. Alright, now let's put that case to work. So I'm using the Ray Neo AR glasses with Samsung DeX. Now I must say, DeX is super impressive. If you ever wanted to use your phone as a PC, the Samsung implementation is one of the best. Speaking of working on a PC, let's talk about my performance experience on the S25 Ultra. Equipped with the overclocked version of the most powerful chipset available on any smartphone right now gives the S25 Ultra an edge over any other competing smartphone. And it shows. This phone is blazing quick and can handle about anything. Even running DeX powered to an external display while running a Bluetooth mouse and keyboard and streaming music to my earbuds. Not to mention I have several applications open at the same time. This phone can do it all. It's super efficient, snappy, and loads everything instantly. Now occasionally it can heat up a bit, but other than that, it's still the best in the game with plenty of power for years to come. It deserves an A+ grade. Alright, so we've just landed now in Sydney. It is currently, well, we're 2 hours behind, so technically it's 1 PM in New Zealand, but now it's 11 AM in Australia, and our battery percentage is at 38%. Well, I did quite a lot of stuff on the plane, doing a lot of things on this phone, so it kind of makes sense, but let's see if this can still last until the end of the day, now that we're 2 hours behind. But let's get through the customs, and then we'll see what we're going to do next. Okay, so we just checked in at the hotel. I want to drop off my luggage, and then I'm going to go find some food and kind of check out the place a bit. So it's been a few years since I've came to Sydney, and everything's so big. Maybe it's because I'm just used to New Zealand, but wow. Anyway, let's grab some food. Let's talk about the cameras on the S25 Ultra. I took quite a lot of photos throughout the trip, but I'll compile them all here. Photos taken on the main camera and ultra-wide are excellent and some of the best on any phone out there. Excellent dynamic range, colors, tones, sharpness, and clarity. The new 50MP ultra-wide is a game changer, especially for me who uses the ultra-wide camera primarily. Sometimes consistency can be a bit off, but it's still great. On the zoom cameras, I have some issues with the free XLR photo. In 2025, it's not good enough, especially now that every other ultra phone have at least 50MP at this focal length. At 10MP, it often produces softer, subpar results. The periscope 5x camera is still stellar and takes some incredible photos. I will note that Samsung is no longer the king of zoom anymore. Other competitors are using 200MP periscope lens that have better capabilities than the S25 Ultra. I did notice that taking a few photos in low light conditions did result in some blurry photos. I think it might have to do with the lower sensor size, not being able to take in as much light as compared to other competitors, which can take in a lot more light with their bigger sensors.
When it comes to video on the S25 Ultra, honestly, it's pretty high end, and especially with log encoding, all of these different options is super versatile and almost on the same par as the iPhones, right? So I would say videos are pretty impressive on the S25 Ultra. So overall, the S25 Ultra cameras are still super high end, very versatile and capable, but there are just a couple of things in the hardware perspective that do set it back a little bit compared to other competitors. And a lot of these sensors are a lot more smaller than Xiaomi, Vivo, and Oppo. I really feel like the S25 Ultra is becoming more and more like an iPhone in terms of this camera processing. That might be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on what you prefer. But for me personally, I would like to see a bit more ultrification on the cameras. But anyway, it is now currently 2:31. Our battery percentage is at 15%, and we're about to head up to an event. So let's head out there now. So now we've reached the event place, and a few things are the embargoes, so I can't really show you guys what I'm looking at, but I'll give you some updates about what's happening. It's now 2:46. Battery percentage is at 14%. It is getting pretty low, so I'm not sure if it will last you out the whole day. If it does run out of battery, then I'll let you guys know. We'll charge it up and we'll keep going on to stay alive. But not looking super likely they will reach the end of the day. But let's go and take a look at some of these products. Alright, so the event is pretty much wrapped up. It's now 4:36 and our battery percentage is now at 9%. Now there's a few stuff that I've looked at like TVs, washing machines, and random home appliances. You guys will find out what brand I was checking out later. But for now, I'm gonna take a look at a few more of these appliances. And then I think we'll go one more event after this. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the day. And then we'll figure out what we're gonna do at night. Now let's cue some B-roll. Alright, now we're done with the events. It's raining now. This kind of sucks, but that's alright. It's now 5 o'clock. Battery percentage is at 7%. I have no idea if this is gonna last. We still have an event to go to and dinner as well, but we'll see what happens. Alright, we'll figure out what we're gonna do now. Let's keep going. Alright, took a few photos outside in the blue hour. Now back at the motel. And now it is currently 5:22 and our battery percentage is at 3%. This is definitely not going to make it throughout the rest of the night. So before I put on the charger, let's talk about the battery performance. So taking a look at the battery performance of the S25 Ultra, we've had a screen on time of 4 hours and 46 minutes. Now keep in mind that I did plug it into my AR glasses, which would have taken up a lot of battery power, and that's not included in the screen on time. So realistically, I was using the AR glasses for about an hour or so. So if you combine that and keep in mind that the AR glasses uses a lot of battery power, you could say that this was about 6 hours of screen on time. Not to mention that I did wake up and take off the phone off the charger around 5:30 a.m. It is now back in New Zealand, 7:30. So altogether, this is still really good battery performance, but maybe not the best battery performance you can get out there. Daily driving this phone for the last week or so, the battery performance has always been pretty superb every single day, ending around 50%. So this is still impressive battery life, but not the best out there. So altogether, the battery performance gets an A grade. Not quite the A+ that I gave it last time, but that's it for now. I'm gonna put this on the charger, then we'll go head out for dinner and then go to another event before we end off the night. so it's now 8:34. Just wrapped up the event. It was pretty much exactly the same as the last event, so I didn't really stay around for too long. My friend Xiao just sent me a message. Let's take a quick look. Oh, what does it say on it? Subscribe to Upwards. Well, you guys know what to do. Subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna try to find a dessert place since Sydney has a lot of dessert places. Let's take a look. Currently 9:46. Let's have a quick chat about the features, the design, and the software of the S25 Ultra. Now, honestly, the S25 Ultra is, well, feels pretty much like a brick as it always has, and honestly not the most ergonomic out there, but still looks pretty premium and definitely looks pretty different from any other phone out there. In terms of the features, well, you get all the full flagship features, Galaxy AI, and other than that, the software has been pretty fluid, but yet again, nothing super outstanding, quite boring, and to be honest, Gemini and cross-app action isn't as useful as I would have expected. The Gemini has pretty much got onto every single Android phone out there, at least the new ones, and the cross-app action, well, honestly not the most useful function out there. So, altogether, still deserves an A grade, but nothing more, nothing less. Anyway, I think it's time to go back to the hotel, get some sleep. Technically it's 11:48 in New Zealand time, so pretty late already. I'll see you guys back there. Alright, so it's now 10:15 and it's time to wrap up my thoughts about the S25 Ultra. So after 3 months, is the S25 Ultra enough? Well, to be honest, the S25 Ultra in my day in life test today actually scored lower than what I initially gave it in my first day in the live test. And that's not because the S25 Ultra is the worst phone or has degraded, but rather a lot of other competitors with their Ultra phones have really made the S25 Ultra feel less Ultra. In fact, the S25 Ultra feels more like a Pro phone rather than an Ultra, and that's mainly to two factors: the camera hardware and the battery life. Other competitors from Xiaomi, Vivo, and Oppo have come up with phones that have better battery life and better camera hardware. The S25 Ultra's hardware just doesn't keep up, and without the new battery technology that other competitors have been putting into their phones, the S25 Ultra's battery life can't keep up. Not saying that the S25 Ultra is a bad phone, in fact it still has a great display, the best performance out of any phone out there right now, and decent battery life that will carry you out throughout 2 days or more, but it just can't keep up compared to those other Ultra phones. This still remains to be one of the best phones you can get for most people, coming in with pretty much everything that you could ever want, but those other phones, even though they're exclusive to China, do make the S25 Ultra a little less Ultra for what you're paying for. So, that wraps up my review of the S25 Ultra after 3 months. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and Upwards, and I'll see you guys in the next video.